Good afternoon, CFA Society, honorable judges. We are here today representing the University of Minnesota Duluth Team 2. I'm Mason Dempsey, my partners Jax Wren, Ethan Baumgartner, and Mitchell Sally. Today, we're going to be telling you the story of Polaris. We are initiating a buy recommendation on Polaris with a price target of $103, implying an upside of 11%. This price target comes from three strong catalysts. First, we believe in Polaris' ability to invest in their innovation. Second, we believe in their ability to invest in efficiency. Third, finally, we believe in their ability to expand their customer base. Mitch will now start the story.
Polaris was founded in 1954 with the goal of engineering a more efficient way of reaching isolated hunting shacks through deep snow. After years of hard work and building trust, Polaris is now the leader in the global power sports manufacturing industry, employing over 18,000 people worldwide. Polaris operates through four main business sectors: off-road, on-road, marine, and products, garments, and accessories. The majority of Polaris' revenue comes from the United States, with additions coming from Canada, Europe, Middle East, and Asia, and Asia Pacific, Latin America. Now Jax will bring us to the industry.
Polaris deploys a geared for good model emphasizing their ESG framework. Think place is a key area focusing on areas in which Polaris positively impacts the places in which they operate. In 2022, Polaris was able to exceed environmental goals set against the 2017 baseline. Moving forward to 2035, Polaris has indicated positive environmental initiatives moving forward, showcasing their commitment to environmental stewardship. Polaris is able to balance consumer demand with environmental responsibility, showcasing sustainability moving forward. Continuing with their Geared for Good model is their Think People initiative, placing people at the core of their operations. Through Polaris' talent development program, incoming talent is 45% diverse. Polaris emphasizes a Ride Together framework, which showcases respect, inclusion, diversity, and equity across your entire organization. In giving back, Polaris granted $4.3 billion to organizations and communities, $545,000 in tuition reimbursements, and 120 scholarships to dependents of employees in 2022. All these positive initiatives raise the question, who would want to work for Polaris?
Polaris is led by CEO Michael Speetzen and CFO Bob Mack, who are compensated fairly with a large percentage coming in the form of stock awards and performance bonuses. Mr. Speetzen has been with Polaris for 8 years and was appointed CEO in 2021. His total compensation in 2022 was $8.8 million. Mr. Mack has been with Polaris for 7 years and was named CFO in 2021. His total compensation in 2022 was $3.3 million. The board of Polaris is 70% non-diverse, 20% gender diverse, and 10% racially and ethnically diverse. And now let's explore the power sports industry. The power sports industry serves a diverse customer base, including recreational riders, sport enthusiasts, and working utility users. The power sports market as a whole is expected to grow at a CAGR of 5.3% in 2030, reaching over $54 billion. Polaris holds 44% of the market share in the ATV and side-by-side industry, showing that the Polaris brand has incredibly strong recognition. Polaris holds 8% of the market share in the U.S. in the motorcycle, bike, and parts industry in the U.S. And so who does Polaris compete with? Polaris competes with multiple high-quality companies, most of whom specialize in certain areas, unlike the entire industry like Polaris. We believe that the closest competitor is BRP, a holding company that competes with Polaris on land, water, and snow. After our competitive analysis, we can confidently say that Polaris holds a strong market share and is a premium brand compared to their competitors. After our research, we took away 3 major ideas that turned out to be our investment thesis, and Mason will now talk about the investment pillars.
For years, Polaris has been a leader in innovation within the power sports industry. From motorcycles to boats, they continue to find ways to attract new customers while retaining the old customers. This year, they have released 2 new products within the ORV segment. First, the Polaris Expedition. The Expedition is a brand new vehicle within the ORV family. And the second is the Polaris XD. The XD allows riders more power, whether that be on the farm, whether that be at the construction site, or for recreational purposes. And we understand there's concern going into this segment in 2024. But through our proprietary research, we've come to believe that as consumers forego on snowmobile purchases, they're looking for side-by-sides and ATVs in exchange. The lack of snowfall may shorten the snowmobiling season, but it lengthens the ATV season. Our second catalyst is Polaris' ability to invest in efficiency. Back in 2014, Polaris was preaching from a mountaintop the importance of lean manufacturing. Fast forward 10 years, it's a different story. For the past 3 years, Polaris has been focused on 2 things: mass production and innovation at a cost. Well, that's destroyed destroy the margin, destroy the process. There's three things we believe players can do in order to get back to those basics. The first and the easiest is just getting back to the basics of lean manufacturing. By doing this, they improve their capabilities along with minimizing their risks. Second, management has brought in external resources to help with this problem. They're not calling them consultants, they're calling them extra hands. These extra hands are industry professionals who are efficient at cutting costs within industries. Third and finally, they've implemented new paint production systems within the Monterey, Vietnam, and Rosa facilities. These new systems allow for increased capacity and capabilities while minimizing energy, waste, and water. Third and finally, we believe in Polaris' ability to expand not only domestically but globally through its Polaris subscription model of Polaris Adventure. Polaris Adventure allows riders to have credits. These credits can be used at over 200 locations scattered through the United States, Mexico, and New Zealand. This model allows users to try a vehicle for the very first time, whether that be a brand new customer or a returning customer to try a new vehicle to add to their inventory. Additionally, we believe in this management team. Therefore, when they say they're increasing their customer base by 50%, we believe in their ability to do so and achieve this goal in the next 10 years. Polaris will find success in expanding this company through continuing to expand their Polaris Adventures model. Additionally, by having production facilities overseas, it increases their brand recognition on a worldwide scale, just as they've done in the Vietnam market. Equal now takes the financial analysis.
So the first piece of our financial analysis is the most important, dividend and capital allocation. Polaris pays close attention to the dividends per share count. Management leverages the fact that they've increased dividends per share consecutively since 1997. We expect nothing to change from its 30-year dividend trend. It will increase beyond $3 a share, and this is reaffirmed by management's concentration on this aspect of their business. This consistency is exactly why we chose to utilize valuation techniques like a multi-stage dividend discount model to determine where they are going to trade in 1 year. On top of this, the red line in the upper left is a dividend payout ratio, and the reason that we chose to include more historical data is to showcase the latitude that Polaris has with its payout ratio. For example, in 2022. Free cash flow on the left historically has been chopped in efforts to stabilize capital allocation. However, Polaris has delivered nice positive free cash flow, and we see near-term expansion in free cash flow through expansion in free cash flow margin. Looking 10 years out, we see some good expansion in the top line, which will lead to positive divergence of free cash flow, as seen on that graph in the upper left. We did consider our DCF when constructing our dividend discount model to account for overall financial health of the company. Now let me take you through a service level overview of our management efficiency ratios and financial health. In 2022, Polaris experienced a bump in ROE, primarily due to an increase in long-term debt. Consequently, slightly reducing their quick and cash ratios, but increasing their current ratio, which is good to see that balance. It's mildly concerning to see an increase in total debt. However, we believe Polaris is on track to rectify the amount of debt that they hold relative to their equity, and we already see early signs of that, with them almost completely reducing their short-term debt. We believe ROE and ROA will remain relatively flat as we see macro pressures ease up on this company. So how did we get to a $103 price target? Well, let me show you. As I said earlier, our main method of valuation was through a multi-stage dividend discount model, utilizing Polaris' extremely consistent dividends per share. Breaking apart the first 10 years of a recorded growth model to achieve a 10-year dividend discount model, using a market premium of 4.7% and beyond 10 years using a terminal growth rate of 2.25%, which is consistent with the historical growth rate and the company's long-term growth rate. If you'll point your attention to the sensitivity table, you'll notice that the long-term growth rate that we select for this model has limited impact on our final price target. We are comfortable with a 2% terminal growth rate, but we believe this company has that latitude to demonstrate some dividend expansion into the future, which is why we decided a slightly higher terminal growth rate into perpetuity.
To aid our intrinsic valuation methodology, we reconcile the relative valuation technique primarily through the use of an EV/EBITDA multiple because of the debt that the company currently holds. This broad strokes style further justifies the use of our detailed dividend discount model when we arrived at two very similar price targets to each other. While rationalizing our multiples valuation, we looked at our investment catalysts as well as the multiples in the industry where Polaris is trading below, as well as its own historical averages. And finally, what are the risks associated with Polaris?
We've identified three potential risks to our investment thesis. Firstly, interest rate risk. Secondly, economic slowdown. And thirdly, recalls. We would like to reiterate our buy recommendation based on three strong catalysts: revving up innovation, investing in efficiency, and an expanding consumer base. Thank you. We'll now open the floor for questions.
Hey guys, so I'm curious arrive at that being appropriate given the level of idiosyncratic risk you're listing?
Can you repeat the question? I think you made it cut off.
Oh, sorry. So I'm saying when 10-year treasury spreads are 4 or 5%, how do you arrive at an 11% upside as being sufficient for a buy rating?
So we just actually got our price tag down a couple days ago. Now, we're trying to be a little conservative with this, just as the street is. We believe this company has a lot of room to grow. For the last couple of years, we've been trading well above where they're at now, and we see expansion in margins. We think that they're being a little conservative on the revenue as well, so we see expansion there after their pivot in 2024. So we believe outside of this next year, there's great opportunity for that investment.
I might add on to that real quick, and just to add on to that, if you're comparing it to, say, a treasury bill, and we get 4.2%, essentially the dividend gives you that same level of, conservatism versus, just saying it's a stock without a dividend, I suppose.
Yeah, but the dividend yield is about 2%, right, based on your. Anyways, my question is, you place a lot of confidence in management. What makes you confident in management in terms of the future development?
Yeah, so we're confident in Michael Speedson. He's run the company for 8 years, and just his previous experience, as well as when he came into Polaris as CFO in 2015, he really built out the financial development program that they have, and really just invested in the people there. So that's one of the main reasons why we are strongly.
Management's salary is also highly tied to the stock, with CEO Mike Speedson 69% at risk, where other named executives are 64% at risk. This is relatively in line with industry averages, and they're also ranked on KPIs such as ROIC, which must be 12% for them to be able to sell stock, as well as other values such as revenue, net income, EBITDA, and EBITDA margin.
And in the past 2 earnings calls, management has emphasized that they want to focus on expansion of EBITDA margin, so that's another reason.
So you mentioned in one of your slides, you were talking about Polaris being industry leading and innovator, but the metrics that you showed with their competitor don't quite stack up. I mean, they look there with BRP look relatively inferior, certainly as a growth company. So how do you square that?
We can't argue the numbers, we can't. But we believe Polaris still has this edge in the innovation side. This Polaris Expedition is a model that no other company has been able to replicate quite yet. It's a model that takes a truck and connects it down to something you can drive on through. Yes, PRP's done well with acquisition for years and they continue to see growth. But as we said, Polaris is at a pivot stage right now. They're trying to reinvent themselves and innovate these new products for customers that they've never seen before. So we understand that's what they're doing and that's what we believe that they're going to come to.
And just quickly, the real competitive advantage for Polaris is within their side-by-side market. And for a company like BRP, where their competitive advantage is more on the sea, they do compete against each other. So Polaris, they really have that advantage in that side-by-side ATV market.
And similarly to just the confidence question on your third thesis on market share, I guess you said new markets, but I would take that as market share expansion abroad. So what gives you the confidence that they'd be able to take what they've done here and do that?
So I mentioned Vietnam to close that slide up. They've managed to expand their motorcycle brand over there. And that's something that is well received. They love that product. So how they continue expanding is they have to get their brand out there. It's an American brand. It's an American brand. They love them. So getting that product overseas, getting that brand recognition, getting that name on billboards, it's going to be huge for this company.
You guys opened yourself up a little bit to this one, but can you talk about why your price target changed a little bit, especially when you're using a dividend discount model? It seems like not a lot of those assumptions would change very often.
Yeah, I realized I opened myself up real quick to that. We had to take into account this past week. We had to understand that there was troubles, and troubles that needed to be addressed. Macro pressures, consumer pressures. We had to address those, and we thought that bringing it down a little bit was a lot more reasonable. And so that's what we took into consideration.
So that was one of the reasons why we decided to lower our price target, was because we saw sales came in a little bit underwhelming, but the other reason is the 10-year was going up, and so that affected essentially our WAC. And it raised our discount factor ever so slightly, brought our price higher down.
You mentioned about the proprietary research. Can you share with us what exactly you did?
It was the art of cold calling. We did what we called a lot of different players, dealers throughout the Snow Belt region. When we approached them, we knew there was a problem with the snow fields. We knew that there's lack of snowfall, which was less inventory leaving that floor. So we approached it, are consumers trying to purchase elsewhere? And they said yes. They said consumers are looking for the side-by-side. There's a great deal of interest in players like Steve. Finding vehicles that can ride outside of the snow has been a huge interest for these dealerships. Snowmobiles are an issue, we know that. But they're looking for side-by-sides, and they're okay with opening up that world, especially if the snow season ends up shortening the line.
For a company that's had a decent amount of supply chain issues over the past few years, just talk about some of the risks with the international expansion that you're talking about.
So they've hedged against Forex through contracts, through the 10K we saw. Through the foreign exchange, that's an issue. It is an issue, and they're addressing that. So how they navigate those waters is still something we are not comfortable answering at this point.
I'll add on a little bit. They do have manufacturing plants all over the world, so in that essence, it would help with the supply chain.
Can I follow on that? I thought nowadays it's all coming back locally, right? So the cost is actually going up.
So why do you believing, I think you mentioned about going back to lean manufacturing. Just curious how you did that too.
So the reason we went lean manufacturing is, what took us a minute to realize is Polaris is an American brand. Cutting heads does not look good for an American brand. So the first thing they're going to have to do is try to find operational efficiencies that they can correct, whether that be at home or overseas. So bringing the product back, they run into a tariff issue, yes, but they're going to try to find those costs to cut down in the middle before they start cutting the workforce.
How does M&A play a role in, your thesis with the catalyst or its customer base expansion, and how would you rate management's M&A strategy?
We're comfortable with management's M&A strategy. Recently, Walker Racing was one they acquired through their third parts. They've done a good job. They may not replicate it right now with their boat segment slightly declining, but these are reputable premium brands that consumers want. Consumers, when you talk to a family that has a Polaris product, usually that son continues to carry that product on down the line. Once you have a Polaris is in the family just as much as the dog is. So that's how we view it, and through M&A, it's finding these premium brands, and they've done a very good job with acquiring them throughout. The CFO, being a huge advocate for this industry, has done a well job of recognizing these products.
So guys, I'm curious, what specific data sets would you monitor that would be an early warning sign to you that perhaps your thesis could be deteriorating?
Just real quick, just off the top of my head, the ORV industry, just to see where that's going as an industry metric. Interest rates, of course, if disposable income is going down or they have less buying power, that's definitely a concern for us too. But in the future, we don't see that interest rates are going to go up. We see that they're going to go down.
Additionally, revenue per employee, that is almost at all-time lows right now. So that's something we're definitely going to keep an eye on going forward and how they manage their workforce.
Just one quick one. So if you're sitting on the board of Polaris and you've got a CEO in the room that's had the years in the saddle and gross margins were 30% just before he got here, and now they're 20%, how much room do you give him?
That's fair. In terms of that, since he's been in office or he's been in his position, they've come down. But they have addressed those in the past 2 quarters, and we see that on a gross margin standpoint, that this is a pivot point, that they're going to come back, and he's emphasizing that, and that's really